Oh, you think I'm nervous? I'm not nervous.
You're nervous.
I think you're nervous. You're the one that's like laughing a lot. I have my composure.
I am the host, so I know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so what questions do you have for me, host?
My question is, how did you meet your first Chinese friend?
How I met my first Chinese friend?
This is your microphone.
And so I went all over using that to go with them. And the first one was Dylan because she was very interested in American culture. She watched the TV show Friends.
2 hours later.
Yeah, but you didn't ask me about Friends. He did. And so we talked about Friends.
Did I record this whole conversation? I did not record. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. A lot of my audience ask me when they're studying abroad how they can learn English, how they can improve their English, most importantly how they can make friends in America. So today I have my friends Kyle. We are friends from high school, so since then we know each other for
1、2、3、4、5、6、7 7 yeah.
7 years, so we have been maintaining successfully maintain our friendship. So we're going to talk about how from both perspectives how we form and maintain this friendship. So do you want to talk about how we become friends?
Okay. So 你好，我叫 Kyle. That's most of the Chinese I know. I know more terms. 我是生交苹果，这所在哪儿？ Yeah. Other than that, 我不知道. My high school had a rather large population of Chinese students. And even though I wouldn't say the friendship blossomed at first sight, so I think our school is really good at having community building stuff. And so they also encourage American families to host international students for holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas. So through Thanksgiving, I was actually able to interact with Erin more on a personal level, not just talking about school and stuff, but talking about our interests. And we realized that we had commonalities. And I think what we both benefited from was having a mutual curiosity of each other, because I spent all my life in New Mexico up to that point, whereas Erin spent all of her life in Guangzhou. So, and I think we both had like somewhat different experiences, so it was kind of cool like talking about like what school was like in Guangzhou and then telling her what school was like in New Mexico before she came. For us, it was just having some kind of catalyst to get us to be in the same room to talk.
I think having a host family is definitely very important, like for both sides as well. For us, when we first got here, we don't know anything. We probably don't miss home yet because it's our first year, but I think having a family where you feel safe, because usually in school you don't see a lot of cultural stuff, like you don't see how people spend their Christmas or Thanksgiving, but having a host family, you see how they actually do things, what's their tradition, like in Thanksgiving, how they make their turkey. And I think that's, as Kyle says, the catalyst where you have so many chances outside of school to talk about other things, where you know about each other more, gain more interest toward each other, start to ask more questions. And I think when you feel about the other person is interested in getting to know you more, you're willing to share more. That's a mutual communication. Also, like finding interest, like common things that you can talk about and then things you can do outside of school.
I would completely agree with most of the things that she said. I think one of the things that also helped was our main interest, which was getting into college. What helped is that both of us were fairly motivated to go to college, and like we were taking the same kind of college preparation courses, like preparing for the ACT, like taking the practice tests, meeting with college counselors and getting more information about colleges. It was really nice to have someone there who understood what my goals were and learning about her goals. It was great to have like a support system. If you were going abroad for school in high school, I think that's a really good way to make friends, because I think everyone's kind of in the same boat of wanting to go to college.
Also, I think the foundation of having a good friendship is a mutual respect and having empathy for the other person. Because I understand living, like growing up and then being raised in another culture in China and then you're in America, even like in the same country, different cities or different kind of family religion, there are a lot of different values. But I think a lot of people might be holding too much on their own values, but not trying to understand other people's values. So I think for us, it's like we're more open-minded. We understand the other person's coming from different background, being willing to listen, respect, communicate, and understand.
I think one of the other things to remember is that, I mean, just because our friendship is technically international doesn't mean that like it's different from other friendships, because I mean, we graduated from high school, went on to college in different states. So some of the friendships I had in high school, even college, have like naturally like faded away just because of life. So I think one of the unique things about our friendship is that it has not yet faded.
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, we'll let you know if it's faded or not.
So I think a lot of people asked me this question before, is how you make American friends, how you feel comfortable making friends with like international friends. And I told many people the hard part is not how to make a friend, it's how you perceive yourself when you're making a friend. Like a lot of people are scared of the other person is not accepting you for who you are, not understanding you are holding yourself back. But I think don't see yourself as a different person as the person you're facing. You're the same, you're just from different background. You have to overcome the mindset where you think you're different and then you fear that you can speak the same and then you feel that person doesn't understand you. Like most of the time people don't care about your accent or anything as long as they understand you. So my last question was, a lot of people think they can have like normal daily conversation, but they couldn't have a really deep conversation.
How not to have like surface level friendship. One of the things that helped us was to gain trust from each other, where I think it took a bit. So like, I mean, when our friendship started, I think we made each other laugh, so it was like an inside joke that kind of started us to talk more. And it starts basic, but eventually life happens, and I mean, because we're high schoolers and we're going through emotional issues, I think there have been some times where I think we've both been emotional. I think there's initial hesitance of like, is the other person going to understand? Like, just because of the cultural differences. But I think we realized that, I mean, like, we have families, we have friends. We literally have the same things in different cultures. It's just different language. And one of the things, obviously, like, when a friendship starts, you don't need to be like super vulnerable, but I think over time, I think we both had the social cues to recognize that we could share a little bit of vulnerability of like, you know, like what's going on with our actual lives. Like, I remember one time where I think Erin was very sad because she got really stressed out about the ACT, because we were taking the practice tests, and she got really stressed out, and like I think she didn't really want to show that she was stressed out, but I think there was a point where like she was able to show that. I think it was like, oh, I'm stressed out too. Like, I mean, I think like, so then we realized that we had like the same struggles and stuff, and I think that kind of helped. Those kind of instances helped us realize, oh, we don't have to talk about calculus all the time. We could, we could talk about like, oh, like how's like your parents doing, and like any drama that happens in school. It's nice to have like a new person to talk about it too. So I think it just takes patience, because I wouldn't say like, even when we initially started becoming friends, it wasn't until like a couple months later when the friendship started to kick off more, and then eventually over the years this comes to a point where I think we're just naturally more open. So I think just don't get intimidated if you feel like the conversations that you're having at first are bland or not important, but just know that it's like an investment. Just invest in being willing to talk, and just be present when the other person is willing to share something that is important to them, because that's when you're able to really capitalize on the opportunity to connect with them in a much more deeper and rewarding way.
I think like at the end of the day, international friendship is the same as any friendship. You start with like service level conversation, and then you build up the trust, you get more familiar, and then slowly open up. I think it's the same no matter what background you're from. I think it's the same. So it takes time, but also like being open, and it's okay to be vulnerable at some point. I think that's very important, and then get to understand like where the other person is coming from. So I think that's the topic for today. Is there any more you want to add?
Yeah, this has been great. I appreciate talking about our friendship. So now you guys know that we have a friendship, so you can keep us accountable in maintaining that friendship, because we would be hypocrites if our friendship ended here.
Alright then. So thank you, Kyle, for joining us for today's video. This is very spontaneous.
Yeah, 谢谢。再见。
再见. Bye. I'll see you guys pretty soon on another video. Bye.